They say twins share everything: a face, a birthday, even a soul. But what happens when one twin has to carry all the pain while the other fights all the battles? That's when we decided to switch. Let's pause for a moment and drop in a comment, all of you. Where are you joining me from right now? I would love to know about each of you. Let's get back to our story now. My name is Maya Carter. For the past 8 years, I've been a professional MMA fighter. Not the glamorous UFC kind you see on TV, the underground circuit. The kind where broken noses and dislocated shoulders are just part of the job description. I was good at it. Really good. My record was 47-3. 3 losses in 8 years, and 2 of those were because the ref stopped the fight early. My career ended 6 months ago when I shattered my knee in a fight against a woman who outweighed me by 40 pounds. I heard the pop, felt the white-hot pain, and knew immediately it was over. 3 surgeries later, I could walk, but I'd never fight professionally again. Now I work as a self-defense instructor in a cramped gym that smells like sweat and old leather. It pays the bills, barely. My apartment is a studio in a bad neighborhood, 1 room, thin walls, but it's mine. At night I can hear my neighbors arguing, cars backfiring, police sirens. It's not much, but I've earned every square foot of it. My twin sister, Emma, she took a different path. While I was learning how to break bones, Emma was learning how to set a dinner table with the right forks. She went to culinary school, got a job at an upscale restaurant, and met Marcus Wellington III, heir to a real estate empire. Old money, country club membership, houses in 3 states, kind of rich. They got married 5 years ago in a wedding that cost more than I'd earned in my entire fighting career. I was the maid of honor. I wore a dress that cost 2 months of my rent and smiled for photos while Marcus's family looked at me like I was something they'd scraped off their expensive shoes. From the outside, Emma's life looked perfect. Mansion with 8 bedrooms, luxury cars, vacation photos from places I couldn't pronounce. She had everything I didn't. I should have known better. I should have seen the signs. But I didn't. Not until it was almost too late. It was 11 p.m. on a Tuesday when she showed up at my door. I was icing my bad knee and watching old fight videos, analyzing what I'd done wrong in my last match. The knock was so soft I almost didn't hear it. When I opened the door, I almost didn't recognize her. Emma stood in my hallway wearing a long coat despite the summer heat. It was 90 degrees outside, humid enough to breathe, feel like drowning, but she was buttoned up to her neck, the collar's collar pulled high. Her hair, usually perfectly styled, the kind of blonde highlights that cost $400 at a salon, hung limp and greasy around her face. She'd lost weight, a lot of weight. Her cheekbones jutted out sharply, and her collarbones were visible through her skin. But it was her eyes that stopped my heart. They were hollow, haunted, like something inside her had died and no one had bothered to bury it. "Emma? What are you?" I started. She stepped into the light of my apartment's bare bulb. That's when I saw it. A bruise, purple and black, bloomed across her left cheekbone. The kind of bruise that takes a serious hit to make, not a bump or an accident, a fixed. But that wasn't all. As she moved into my apartment, the coat shifted. I caught glimpses of more bruises, on her neck, her wrists, creeping up from beneath her collar like dark vines. "Maya," her voice cracked. She hadn't called me Maya in years, always called me May, our childhood nickname. "I need help." I pulled her inside and locked the door. My hands were shaking. I'd fought professionally for 8 years. I'd broken bones and had bones broken. I'd seen blood and pain and violence, but nothing had prepared me to see my sister like this. "Who did this to you?" My voice came out low and dangerous, the voice I used in the ring right before I ended a fight. Emma collapsed on my threadbare couch. It was the same couch we'd shared as kids, the one our mom had given me when I moved out. It smelled like old fabric and memories. She didn't answer my question. She just stared at her hands, them hands with raw knuckles and broken nails. I went to my bathroom, grabbed my first aid kit, the same one I used after fights. Antiseptic, bandages, ice packs. I'd never thought I'd be using it on my sister. I knelt in front of her and gently lifted her chin. The bruise on her cheek was recent, maybe a day old. The swelling was still there. Emma, talk to me. Who did this? She finally looked at me. Really looked at me. Our eyes were identical. Same shape, same color, same genetic code. But hers were filled with something mine had never held. Absolute despair. Marcus, she whispered. One word, that's all it took. One word, and my entire world tilted. Your husband? I had to make sure, had to hear it clearly. She nodded. How long? 3 years. 3 years. For 3 years, my sister had been living in hell, while I had been obsessing over my fighting career, my knee injury, my own problems. While she'd been posting smiling photos on social media from her mansion, someone had been beating her. Why didn't you tell me? My voice broke. I tried. She pulled off the coat. I wish she hadn't. Her arms were covered in bruises, old ones, yellow and fading, fresh ones, purple and angry, circular marks where fingers had gripped too tight, long welts like from a belt, burns, actual burns on her forearms. This wasn't a one-time thing. This wasn't a fight that got out of hand. This was systematic, planned, torture. Oh my God, Emma. There's more. She pulled up her shirt. Her ribs. Someone had kicked her ribs multiple times. The bruising spread across her entire torso. I stood up. I had to. If I kept looking, I was going to lose control. I was going to grab my keys, drive to that mansion, and kill Marcus Wellington with my bare hands. We're going to the police, I said. Right now. No. Emma's voice was sharp, stronger than I'd heard it all night. Maya, no, we can't. What do you mean we can't? Look at you. I tried. She pulled her shirt back down. I tried 6 months ago. I went to the police station, showed them the bruises, filed a report, and the officer who took my statement, Emma laughed. It was a horrible sound. He golfed with Marcus's father. The report disappeared. Marcus found out I'd gone to the police. She pulled down her collar. There was a scar there. Thin, white, deliberate. He held a knife to my throat and told me if I ever tried again, he'd finish the job. I felt something break inside me. Not break, shatter, into a million pieces that could never be put back together. Then what do you want me to do? I asked. Emma looked up at me. In her eyes, I saw something I'd never seen before. Steal. I want you to take my place. At first, I thought she'd lost her mind, that the abuse had broken something fundamental in her brain, and this was how it manifested, in insane plans that made no sense. Emma, what are you talking about? Take your place. She stood up, wincing as her bruised ribs protested. She walked to my bathroom mirror, the cheap one I'd bought at a dollar store that was slightly warped at the edges. Look at us, she said. I stood next to her. Our reflection stared back. We were identical. Not just similar, identical. Same height, 5'6". Same weight, more or less, though Emma was thinner now. Same face, high cheekbones, pointed chin, wide-set eyes. Same small scar on our left eyebrow from when we crashed our bikes as kids. The only differences were superficial. Emma's hair was longer, past her shoulders. Mine was cut short for fighting, barely touching my collar. She wore expensive clothes, even when they were covered in bruises. I wore gym clothes and tank tops. We've switched places before, remember? I did. When we were kids, we used to do it all the time. Switch classes, fool our parents, trade places on dates. It was a game. This wasn't a game. Emma, what are you talking about? That was different. We were kids. This is insane. Is it? She turned to face me. Maya, you know how to fight. You spent your entire adult life learning how to hurt people who try to hurt you. I never learned that. I learned how to make soufflés and fold napkins and smile even when I was dying inside. So what? I just walk into your house and pretend to be you? Yes. And what happens when Marcus realizes I'm not you? When he notices I don't flinch when he raises his hand? When I fight back? That's exactly what I'm counting on. Emma grabbed my hands. Hers were cold, trembling. I can't fight him, Maya. I've tried. I freeze. My body just stops working. But you won't. You can protect yourself. This is crazy. You keep saying that. Because it is. Emma's expression hardened. Then what's your plan? Let me go back? Wait until he kills me? Because that's where this is heading. Last week, he choked me until I passed out. I woke up on the kitchen floor 3 hours later. The rage I'd been holding back started bubbling up. Then we run. We disappear. Change your name, move across the country. With what money? Everything is in his name. The accounts, the credit cards, everything. I have $147 in a secret account I've been building for 2 years. That's it. $147. She laughed bitterly. That won't even get me to the next state. Then we figure it out. There's no time, Emma. Pull up her shirt again, pointing to the rib bruises. The doctor at the ER, yes, I went to the ER, told them I fell downstairs, said if I get hit like this again, I could have internal bleeding, punctured lung. I could die before anyone even finds me. I sat down on the edge of my bathtub. This couldn't be happening. This didn't happen to people like us. We grew up in a normal family, middle-class neighborhood, loving parents. How did we end up here? I said. Walk me through it. The whole plan. Emma's eyes lit up with desperate hope. She sat down next to me on the bathroom floor and we talked. The plan was insane. Completely insane. But it might just work. Emma would stay here, in my apartment, hide. My neighbors barely knew me. I kept to myself, went to work, came home. No one would notice if someone else was living here. I would take her place, move into the mansion, become Emma Wellington. But it's not just about switching places, Emma explained. Marcus is smart, cruel, but smart. If you go in there acting like yourself, he'll know immediately something's wrong. So I have to act like you. Yes and no. She bit her lip. I have to act like me, but the me who's finally had enough, the me who's starting to push back. Slowly, carefully. Why slowly? Because if you go from doormat to fighter overnight, he'll get suspicious. But if you gradually start standing up for yourself, start questioning him, start resisting, he'll just think I've finally grown a spine. He'll want to break it, and that's when we get him. Get him how? Evidence. Emma pulled out her phone. I need video, audio, documentation, real evidence that even his family's lawyers and bought cops can't make disappear. You gather it while you're there. Record everything. His abuse, his threats, everything. How long? A week, maybe 2. Just long enough to build an airtight case. I thought about it. A week or 2, living in a mansion with a man who beat his wife, acting like someone I wasn't, documenting abuse while trying not to blow my cover. What about the physical differences? My knee. I have a scar from the surgery. I'll tell him I fell, that I hurt myself and didn't want to bother him with it. Your habits, the way you move, what you eat. Emma started rapid-firing information. I take coffee with 2 sugars, no cream.
I sleep on the right side of the bed. I have a routine, wake up at 6 a.m., make Marcus breakfast, clean the kitchen, do laundry, start dinner prep by 4 p.m. Marcus works until 7, comes home drunk by 8. That's when he hits you. Usually, not always. Sometimes he's too drunk and just passes out. Those are the good nights. The good nights, when her husband was too drunk to beat her, were the good nights. I wanted to vomit. There's something else, Emma, something you need to know about the house. Tell me. Marcus's mother lives with us, Patricia Wellington. She's worse than him in some ways. Worse how? She encourages it, the abuse. She tells Marcus he needs to control his woman. She criticizes everything I do, and she watches, constantly. If you slip up, if you do something Emma wouldn't do, she'll notice. Great, so I have to fool both of them. And Tyler. Who's Tyler? Marcus's nephew, 14 years old. His mother, Marcus's sister, died in a car accident last year. Tyler lives with us now. Marcus is teaching him how to treat women, how to be cruel. Tyler's already starting to act like his uncle. So I'll be living with 3 people who either commit abuse or enable it. Perfect. Anything else? I asked sarcastically. The house has security cameras in some rooms. Avoid them. And Marcus keeps a safe in his office. If you can get into it, there might be something useful. Financial records, evidence of other crimes. You think he's committed other crimes? I know he has. I've heard phone calls, seen documents. Marcus's real estate empire isn't as clean as his family pretends. An idea started forming. If I could get evidence of not just abuse, but financial crimes, embezzlement, fraud, that was federal. That was the kind of thing even rich people couldn't buy their way out of. Okay, I said, I'll do it. Emma threw her arms around me. She was crying, her tears soaking into my shoulder. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I held her, feeling how thin she'd become, how fragile. We start tomorrow, I said. Tonight, you sleep here, safe. Tomorrow, we switch.
We spent the next 16 hours transforming me into Emma. It started with the physical. Emma pulled out scissors. She'd planned this, I realized. She'd been planning it for a while, maybe hoping she'd work up the courage to ask me. "Sit down," she said, gesturing to my kitchen chair. I sat. Emma stood behind me, running her fingers through my short hair. "I'll have to cut mine to match yours first, then we'll let yours grow to match my length." "Wait, that doesn't make sense. That'll take months." Extensions. Emma pulled out a box from her purse. Expensive hair extensions, the kind that blended perfectly with real hair. "I bought these last month. Your color." She'd been planning this for a month. My sister had been planning her escape for a month, and I had no idea. The guilt hit me like a punch. How had I not known? How had I not seen? Emma cut her hair first. Long blonde strands fell to my floor like snow. When she was done, she looked like me. Short hair, practical, fighter style. Then she worked on me. The extensions took hours. Gluing, blending, styling. When she was finally done, I looked in the mirror. Emma stared back at me. "Oh my God," I whispered. "Now close," Emma said. She'd brought a suitcase. Inside were her clothes. Expensive, tasteful, conservative. Blouses that buttoned to the neck. Long skirts. Modest dresses. Nothing like the tank tops and gym shorts I usually wore. I tried on outfit after outfit. Emma critiqued each one. "Too slouched. I always stand up straight. Patricia drilled it into me. Don't walk like that. Take smaller steps. More hesitant. Your hands. Emma fidgets. She picks at her nails when she's nervous. It felt wrong, making myself smaller. My entire life had been about taking up space, being strong, refusing to shrink. Now I had to learn how to disappear. The hardest part isn't looking like me, Emma said as we practiced. It's thinking like me. What do you mean? You react like a fighter. Someone threatens you, your instinct is to fight back. Mine is to freeze, to fawn, to try to de-escalate. That's just your trauma response. I know, but that's what Marcus expects. If you react wrong, he'll know something's off. Emma sat down across from me. Let me teach you the rules. The rules? My sister had rules for surviving her own marriage. Rule 1, Marcus is always right. Even when he's wrong, he's right. You don't contradict him directly. That's insane. That's survival. Rule 2, Patricia's word is law. She criticizes you, you apologize. She tells you to do something, you do it, no matter how degrading. Emma, Rule 3, Tyler is untouchable. He's the golden child, the heir, the precious nephew. He can do no wrong. If he's cruel to you, you take it. Absolutely not. If some kid, he's not some kid, Maya. He's learning to be just like Marcus. And if you discipline him, Patricia and Marcus will punish you for it. I clenched my fists. This is hell. You've been living in hell. I know. Emma's voice was soft. That's why I need you. You can handle hell. I couldn't. We practiced scenarios. Emma would play Marcus, and I'd have to respond the way she would. You burn dinner. What do you have to say for yourself? My instinct was to say, make your own damn dinner. Instead, I forced myself to say, I'm sorry. I'll do better. You're embarrassing me in front of my colleagues. Why are you so stupid? I wanted to hit her. Not Emma, the imaginary Marcus. Instead, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to embarrass you. Over and over. Apologizing for things that weren't my fault. Accepting blame I didn't deserve. Making myself small. It was the hardest thing I had ever done. You're getting better, Emma said after the 10th round, but your eyes give you away. What do you mean? You have fighter's eyes. Even when you're saying the right words, your eyes say, I'm gonna kill you. Mine say, please don't hurt me. I don't know how to change that. You don't have to. Not completely. Emma leaned forward. This is important, Maya. You can't go in there acting exactly like me. Marcus would get suspicious. You need to be me, but evolving. Like I'm finally starting to fight back. Subtle. A little more eye contact. Taking a second longer to apologize. Tiny acts of defiance. Why? Because that's what will trigger him. That's what will make him escalate. And when he does, you'll have your evidence. It was a dangerous game. Pushed back enough to reveal his true nature on camera, but not so much that he realized I wasn't Emma. What about, I couldn't say it. At night. If he wants. Emma's face went pale. He usually passes out drunk, but if he doesn't... She took a deep breath. There are ways to delay. Offer to get him water. Offer a massage. Usually by the time you get back, he's unconscious. And if he's not, then you have to decide what you're willing to do to maintain your cover. The implication hung in the air. We both knew what she was saying. I'll cross that bridge if I come to it, I said finally. Emma taught me more. The layout of the house. Master bedroom on the second floor, Patricia's room down the hall, Tyler's room in the west wing, Marcus's office, where the safe was off limits, always locked. The daily routine. Breakfast at 7, Marcus leaves for work at 8. Patricia's tea time at 4. Never be late. Dinner at 7:30 sharp. Bedtime by 11. The cameras. Living room, entry hallway, backyard. No cameras in the bedrooms or bathrooms. At least none that Emma had found. The triggers. Lateness, contradicting Marcus in public, food that's too cold or too hot, spending money without permission, talking to other men, smiling too much, not smiling enough. The list went on and on. By hour 12, my head was spinning. How do you keep track of all this? I asked. You don't. You just become it. Like putting on a costume that you can never take off. We practiced more. Walking, talking, eating. Emma showed me how she held her fork, how she sat with her legs crossed at the ankle, how she laughed quietly with one hand over her mouth. He likes me small, Emma explained. Quiet, barely there, like a ghost in my own house. By hour 16, I could pass. We stood in front of the mirror, two identical women. I can't tell who's who anymore, Emma whispered. Good, I said. That means it's working. Emma pulled out a phone from her bag. This is for you. Brand new, untraceable. It has recording apps already installed. Camera, audio, everything. Keep it hidden. Record everything you can safely can. I took the phone, slipped it into the purse Emma had given me. Her purse, now mine. One more thing, Emma said. She pulled off her wedding ring, a massive diamond, probably worth more than my car. You'll need this. I slipped it on. It felt like a shackle. Are you sure about this? I asked one final time. Emma looked at me, at herself, in the mirror. No, but I'm more sure than I've ever been about anything in my life. Okay then. I picked up Emma's keys and said, let's switch. The Wellington estate was in Thornhill Heights, the kind of neighborhood where houses had names instead of numbers. The Manor, Ashwood Estate, Wellington Hall. I drove Emma's car, a Mercedes she wasn't allowed to drive without Marcus's permission, but kept for emergencies, the emergency being her escape. The gate was wrought iron, 12 feet tall, with a security camera mounted on the post. I punched in the code Emma had given me. The gate swung open silently. The driveway was longer than my entire street. Manicured lawns stretched in every direction, dotted with trees that had probably been imported from somewhere expensive. The house itself was obscene. 3 stories, white columns, balconies, a fountain in the circular drive. This was a cage, a beautiful, expensive cage. I parked in the garage, 3-car, spotless, climate-controlled. Emma's spot was the smallest, furthest from the door. Even the parking spaces had a hierarchy. My hand shook as I turned off the engine. Not from fear. I'd fought women who outweighed me by 50 pounds. I'd stepped into rings where I could get seriously hurt. But this was different. This was psychological warfare. This was living every second as someone else, never dropping the mask. I grabbed Emma's purse, my purse now, and the grocery bag she'd told me to buy. You're coming back from the store. That's your cover for why you were gone all day. The door from the garage led into a mudroom. Expensive tile. A bench I probably couldn't afford in 10 years. I could hear voices inside. Showtime. I walked into the kitchen. It was massive. Marble countertops, professional-grade appliances, an island bigger than my entire apartment's kitchen. Everything was spotless, sterile, perfect. A woman stood at the island, flipping through a magazine. She looked up as I entered. Patricia Wellington. Emma had described her mother-in-law, but seeing her in person was something else. She was in her early 60s, perfectly preserved through what I assumed were expensive procedures. Her hair was silver blonde, styled in a way that probably required weekly salon visits. She wore a cream-colored pantsuit that cost more than my monthly rent. But it was her eyes that got me. Cold, assessing, the eyes of someone who enjoyed having power over others. Emma. Her voice was clipped, Boston Brahmin accent. You're late. I glanced at the clock. 4:47 p.m. Patricia's tea time at 4 p.m. Never be late. I was 47 minutes late. I'm sorry, I said, channeling Emma's apologetic tone. The store was crowded and... Excuses. Patricia set down her magazine. I don't pay for excuses. I pay for punctuality. You don't pay for anything, I thought. Your son does. But Emma wouldn't say that. I'm right. I'm sorry. Patricia studied me. I could feel her analyzing every detail, looking for something wrong. You look different, she said finally. My heart stopped. Day 1, minute 1, and I was already caught. Different how? I kept my voice steady. I'm not sure. Patricia walked around me like I was a horse she was considering purchasing. Your hair? No, that's the same. Your clothes? Those are the rags you always wear. Rags? The blouse I wore cost $300. I checked the tag. Perhaps you've lost more weight, Patricia continued. Marcus mentioned you've been looking skeletal lately. Honestly, Emma, it's unattractive. Men don't want walking skeletons. I bit my tongue. Emma wouldn't respond to that. I'll try to eat more, I said quietly. See that you do. Now, where's my tea? I've been waiting for nearly an hour. I moved to the kitchen, muscle memory from Emma's coaching kicking in. The tea was in the cabinet, expensive loose leaf. The teapot was on the 3rd shelf, water at exactly 200 degrees, steep for 4 minutes. As the water boiled, I heard footsteps on the stairs. Tyler. He slouched into the kitchen, 14 years old, overweight, and with the kind of entitled expression that made me want to knock some humility into him. He wore expensive clothes, designer brands, but wore them badly, untucked, wrinkled. Aunt Emma's back, he said to Patricia, not to me, like I wasn't there. Can we eat soon? I'm starving. Emma's just making my tea. Then she'll start dinner, won't you, Emma? Yes, Patricia. Tyler opened the fridge, grabbed a soda, and burped loudly. He looked at me and laughed. Gross, right? He said, clearly expecting me to scold him. Emma wouldn't scold him. She couldn't. Tyler was untouchable. Please use a glass, I said mildly, pouring Patricia's tea into a delicate china cup. Why? Can't waste dishes. He drank straight from the can, maintaining eye contact. A challenge, a test. I said nothing, just delivered the tea to Patricia. It's lukewarm, she said without tasting it. Remake it. I poured the tea down the sink and started again. Tyler watched me with interest. You're being quiet today. Usually you apologize like 50 times. Damn, I was already off script. I'm just tired, I said. Marcus is going to be pissed about dinner being late. Last time you were late, he threw a plate at the wall. Remember? That was awesome. He thought it was awesome. Watching his uncle abuse his aunt was awesome. Tyler, go wash up for dinner.
and do your homework. But Grandma, now. Tyler rolled his eyes, but obeyed. He had to obey Patricia. Everyone did. Once he was gone, Patricia turned to me. "He's a good boy. Don't let your face show what you're thinking." I wasn't. Yes, you were. You were judging him, judging how I'm raising him. Tyler has been through a traumatic loss. His mother died. He acts out. That's normal. Normal. Celebrating abuse was normal. You're not a mother, Emma. You don't understand these things. Perhaps if you had given Marcus a child, you would. But you can't even do that right, can you? The cruelty was casual, effortless. This was how Patricia talked to Emma every single day. I wanted to throw the tea in her face. Instead, I said, "No, Patricia, I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't give my son an heir. Sorry doesn't fix your broken body." She walked toward the dining room. "Marcus will be home in 2 hours. I expect dinner to be perfect, unlike your tea." She left. I stood in the kitchen, hands gripping the marble counter, breathing slowly. In, out. In, out. This was day one, hour one, and I wanted to burn this house down. But I couldn't. Not yet. I pulled out the hidden phone and checked. The entire conversation had been recording. Good. Evidence point. 1. Psychological abuse, cruelty, dehumanization. I opened the fridge to start dinner. Inside was everything Emma had described. Expensive cuts of meat, fresh vegetables, imported cheeses. The Wellingtons ate well. Emma ate leftovers in the kitchen, alone, after everyone else finished, if there were leftovers. I pulled out chicken breast, vegetables, pasta. Emma's note said, "Marcus likes chicken piccata on Tuesdays. Don't oversalt, don't undercook." As I cooked, I studied the house. From the kitchen, I could see into the dining room, the living room beyond. Everything was expensive and cold, like a museum, not a home. There were photos on the mantel. Marcus at various ages, Patricia and her late husband, Marcus's sister. Not one photo included Emma. She'd been erased from her own home. At 6:47 p.m., I heard the garage door open. Marcus was home. My pulse spiked. This was it, the real test. I heard his footsteps, his keys hitting the marble table in the entry. "Emma," he called. "Where are you?" "Kitchen," I called back, keeping my voice soft, Emma's voice. He appeared in the doorway. Marcus Wellington was 42, tall, athletic from expensive gym memberships, handsome in the way men with money are handsome. Good haircut, good clothes, good teeth. He wore a suit that cost more than most people's monthly salary, loosened tie, slightly flushed face. He'd been drinking, not drunk yet, but on his way. Our eyes met. This was my sister's husband, the man who'd sworn to love and protect her, the man who'd broken her ribs, choked her unconscious, held a knife to her throat. I felt my fighter's instinct rising. Assess the threat, find the weakness, plan the attack. But Emma wouldn't do that. Emma would smile nervously and hope he was in a good mood. I smiled nervously. "How was work?" I asked.
Marcus studied me. I could see him analyzing, the same way Patricia had, looking for something wrong. "Fine," he said finally. "What's for dinner?" "Chicken piccata, your favorite." "Is it ready?" 20 minutes. He walked closer. I forced myself not to tense, not to shift into a defensive stance. He reached out and grabbed my chin, turning my face side to side. "You look different." "Different how?" My pulse hammered. "I don't know."
Your eyes, maybe. He released me. Have you been crying? No. Good. I hate when you cry. It's manipulative. He loosened his time more. I need a drink. Bring me scotch in the study. 2 fingers, 1 ice cube. Yes, Marcus. He left. I exhaled. 15 seconds. That's how long I'd survived my first interaction with my sister's monster. Only 13 days, 23 hours, and 59 minutes to go.
I brought Marcus his scotch exactly as requested. 2 fingers, 1 ice cube, in the crystal glass from the bar cabinet. His study was locked, but he called, "Come in," when I knocked. The door opened. He must have unlocked it from inside, some kind of electronic lock. The study was all dark wood and leather, expensive books on shelves that I doubted he'd ever read, a massive desk with 3 computer monitors, and on the wall a painting, some abstract thing that probably cost 6 figures. Marcus sat behind his desk, typing on his phone. He didn't look up. I set the drink on his desk, waited. Emma had told me, never leave until you're dismissed, but never seemed too eager to stay. After 30 seconds, Marcus waved his hand. Go, finish dinner. I left. As the door clicked shut behind me, I heard him lock it again. Mental note, Marcus's study, always locked. That's where the safe was, where the secrets were. Back in the kitchen, I finished the chicken picara. It looked good. I'd actually learned to cook well in my early 20s, but according to Patricia's standards, it would be wrong somehow. Too salty, not salty enough. Too dry, too wet. Emma couldn't win. Today, neither could I. At 7:30 exactly, I brought dinner to the dining room. The table was set. I'd done that while the chicken cooked. With china so expensive, I was afraid to breathe on it. Patricia sat at one end, Tyler to her right, Marcus at the head of the table. There was no place set for me. Emma had warned me, you don't eat with them. You serve, then eat in the kitchen after, if there's food left. I served Patricia first, the rules of hierarchy, then Tyler, then Marcus. Aren't you eating, Emma? Tyler asked innocently, but there was nothing innocent in his smile. After, I said quietly. Good, Patricia said, cutting into her chicken. Perhaps skipping a few meals will help you gain some self-control. She took a bite, chewed. I watched her face, waiting for the criticism. It's acceptable, she said finally. High praise from Patricia, apparently. Marcus ate without comment. He was already halfway through his drink, pouring himself another from the decanter on the table. Tyler got a B on his math test, Patricia said conversationally. B's are for average people. Tyler isn't average. He's a Wellington. It was really hard, Tyler protested. Life is hard. You think your grandfather built this empire by accepting mediocrity? Marcus pointed his fork at Tyler. You have every advantage. The best schools, the best tutors, the best everything. Anything less than an A is failure. Tyler's face reddened. For a moment, I almost felt bad for him. Almost. Then he turned to me. It's probably Aunt Emma's fault. She's supposed to help me with homework. The little shit was deflecting. Is that true, Emma? Have you been neglecting Tyler's education? I helped him study last night. For an hour. An hour, Marcus repeated. What else do you have to do with your time? Clean, cook, do laundry, maintain this entire house. But Emma wouldn't say that. You're right. I should do more. Yes, you should. Marcus took another drink. Tyler is family. He's important. You're just you. Just you. Like Emma wasn't family, like she wasn't human. I clenched my fists under the table where no one could see. The hidden phone in my pocket was recording every word. Tyler, go to your room after dinner and study. I expect an A next time. Yes, Grandma. Dinner continued in tense silence.
Marcus had 3 more drinks. Patricia picked at her food, eating like a bird, probably to maintain her figure. Tyler ate like he was at a trough, mouth open, food falling out. When he finished, he stood without asking to be excused and left. "I'll take my tea in the sitting room," Patricia announced, standing. "Earl Grey tonight. Don't steep it too long." She left. Marcus and I were alone. He drained his glass, poured another. His face was flushed now, eyes slightly unfocused. This was the dangerous zone. Drunk enough to be volatile, sober enough to be coordinated. "Come here, Emma," he said. I approached the table, slowly. Emma's small, hesitant steps. Marcus grabbed my wrist and pulled me closer. His grip was tight enough to hurt. "I had a bad day," he said. His breath smelled like scotch and something sour. "Richmond deal fell through, cost me $2 million. $2 million because some inspector found violations." "I'm sorry," I said automatically. "Are you?" He pulled me even closer until I was pressed against the table edge, his face inches from mine. "Are you secretly happy? Happy that I'm stressed? Happy that I'm failing?" "No, Marcus, never." "I think you are. I think you enjoy seeing me struggle." His grip tightened. I could feel bones grinding. This was it, the moment Emma described, the build-up before the violence. "You always look at me with those eyes, like you're judging me, like you're better than me." "I don't." "Shut up." He stood, still gripping my wrist, and pulled me toward him. "You know what I think? I think you're defective, broken, can't give me children, can't do anything right. Why do I even keep you?" My fighter's instinct screamed at me to break his grip. A simple wrist twist would do it, follow with an elbow to the solar plexus. But Emma couldn't do that. Emma froze. So I froze. "Answer me," Marcus demanded. "I don't know," I whispered. "Because I'm kind. Because despite everything wrong with you, I still provide for you. This house, your food, your clothes, everything you have is because of my generosity." He released my wrist with a shove. "Don't forget that." I stumbled back. My wrist throbbed. There would be bruises by morning. Good. Evidence. I pulled out the hidden phone and took photos. Then I returned to recording mode and put it back in my pocket. Patricia called from the sitting room. "Emma, where's my tea?" I went to the kitchen, made the tea, and brought it to Patricia. She took it without thanks. "Marcus seemed upset tonight. I hope you didn't provoke him." "No, Patricia." "Good. A wife's job is to soothe her husband, not agitate him. Remember that." She sipped her tea. "This is better than this afternoon's disaster. Perhaps you are learning." She dismissed me with a wave. I returned to the kitchen and began cleaning. The dirty plates, the pots, the serving dishes. It took an hour. When I finished, I looked at the leftovers. About a quarter of the chicken piccata remained, plus some vegetables. I made myself a plate and ate standing at the counter. The food was cold, but I barely tasted it anyway. My phone buzzed. A text from Emma using the secure app we'd set up. "Are you okay?" I took a photo of my wrist and sent it. "Oh God, Maya, I'm so sorry." "Don't be. This is evidence. Day 1 already documenting assault. Be careful, please." "Always am." I finished eating, washed my dish, and climbed the stairs to the master bedroom. Marcus was already in bed, snoring. The smell of scotch filled the room. I changed into pajamas in the bathroom, modest, long-sleeved, nothing Emma's husband might find provocative. Then I slipped into bed, staying as far to my side as possible. Marcus didn't stir. I lay there in the dark, listening to his breath, and thought about Emma, about how she'd done this every night, slept next to her abuser, never knowing if tonight would be the night he went too far. Tomorrow, I'd start pushing back, gradually, testing his limits. But tonight, I'd survived. Day 1, complete.
Day 2 started at 6 a.m. when my alarm went off.
Emma's alarm, a gentle chime instead of the blaring horn I usually used. Marcus was already gone. His side of the bed was empty, the bathroom still steamy from his shower. He left without waking me, which Emma said was normal. He only interacted with her when he wanted something. I got up, dressed in another of Emma's modest outfits, and went downstairs. Patricia was already in the breakfast nook, reading the newspaper. Actual paper, not digital. Old money habits. Marcus left early for a meeting, she said, without looking up. He'll want dinner at 6 tonight instead of 7. Adjust accordingly. Yes, Patricia. And Tyler needs help with his math homework, an hour after school, in the library. Of course. I made breakfast. Eggs, toast, fresh juice. Patricia ate a quarter of it and left the rest. I cleaned up, started laundry, vacuumed the already spotless floors. This was Emma's life. Endless chores in a house that was never clean enough for people who never showed gratitude. At 3:45 p.m., Tyler came home from school. His private school uniform was untucked, his backpack thrown carelessly in the entryway. "Aunt Emma," he called, "I'm hungry." I made him a snack, turkey sandwich, chips, soda. He ate at the kitchen counter, scrolling through his phone. "Grandma said you're helping me with math." "That's right. Finish eating, then we'll work in the library." 20 minutes later, we sat in the Wellington Library, a pretentious room with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves that I was certain no one had read. Tyler dumped his textbook and notebook on the table. "It's fractions. I hate fractions." I looked at his homework. Basic fraction operations, 8th grade level. Simple stuff. Okay, let's start with problem 1. This is stupid. Why do I need to know fractions? I'm going to be rich. I'll hire people to do math. Math teaches you to think logically. Whatever. Just give me the answers. I looked at him. He was serious. He expected me to do his homework. "Tyler, I can't just give you answers. You need to learn." "Why? Uncle Marcus says you're worthless. If you're so worthless, at least be useful." He pushed the textbook toward me. "Come on, I want to play video games." This was a test. Emma would cave, would do his homework to avoid conflict. But I was supposed to be Emma who was starting to push back. "No," I said. Tyler's eyes widened. "What?" I said no. "I'll help you learn, but I'm not doing your homework for you." "You have to. Grandma said—" "Your grandmother said I should help you." Helping means teaching, not cheating. Tyler's face reddened. He wasn't used to being told no. "If you don't do this, I'll tell Uncle Marcus you refuse to help me." "Then tell him. I'm helping you. I'm just not doing your work for you." For a moment, Tyler just stared at me. Then he did something I didn't expect. He smiled. Not his usual entitled smirk. A real smile. "You're being weird," he said. "Aunt Emma doesn't talk like that." Shit. I'd gone too far. "I'm just tired of watching you struggle," I said, backtracking. "If I teach you properly, you won't need help anymore." Tyler considered this. "Fine, but if I fail, it's your fault." We worked for an hour. Tyler was actually smart when he focused. He got the concepts quickly, but he'd been babied his entire life, never expected to actually work. As we finished the last problem, Tyler asked, "Why are you different?" "What do you mean?" "You're acting different. Like, you're still Aunt Emma, but also not." He closed his textbook. "Did something happen?" I had to be careful here. Tyler was 14, not stupid. I just decided to stop being scared. I said honestly. "Scared of what?" "Of your uncle, your grandmother, of messing up." Tyler looked at his homework. "Uncle Marcus says fear is how you control people." "He told you that?" "Yeah. He's teaching me about business and about women." He wouldn't meet my eyes. "He says women need to be controlled, or they get out of hand."
I felt sick. This kid was being groomed to be the next Marcus. Tyler, can I tell you something? He shrugged. Fear isn't strength. Making people afraid of you doesn't mean they respect you. It means they're waiting for a chance to escape. That's not what Uncle Marcus says. I know, but maybe your uncle is wrong. Tyler looked at me sharply. You really are different. Old Aunt Emma would never say that. Maybe old Aunt Emma was too scared to say what she thought. We stared at each other. I could see Tyler processing, his worldview being challenged for maybe the first time. Then Patricia's voice cut through the moment. Tyler, dinner in 30 minutes. Go wash up. Tyler grabbed his stuff and left quickly. I sat alone in the library, wondering if I just made a terrible mistake or planted a seed that might actually grow into something decent. I cleaned up the library and headed back to the kitchen to start dinner. As I passed through the hallway, I noticed Marcus's study door was slightly ajar. It was never open. Emma had told me it was always locked. I glanced around. No one in sight. Patricia was in her room, Tyler was upstairs, Marcus wouldn't be home for another 2 hours. This might be my only chance. I pushed the door open slowly. The study was empty, exactly as I'd seen it yesterday. But now, I could explore. I moved quickly to the desk. 3 computer monitors, all password protected. Drawers, locked. File cabinets, locked. Behind the abstract painting on the wall, I found it. The safe. Digital keypad, high security model. I pulled out my phone and took photos of everything. The safe, the desk setup, the locked cabinets. Evidence of what he was hiding, even if I couldn't access it yet. Then I heard it. The garage door opening. Marcus was home early. My heart hammered. I couldn't be caught in here. I slipped out of the study, pulling the door to the exact position I'd found it, slightly ajar. I made it to the kitchen just as Marcus walked in through the mudroom. Emma, he said, looking surprised. Dinner's not ready? I'm just starting, I said, forcing my voice to stay calm. You're early. Meeting was canceled. He walked to the fridge, grabbed a beer. What are we having? Pot roast. It'll be ready in 45 minutes. He looked at me, studying my face. You're flushed. What have you been doing? Helping Tyler with homework. We just finished. Marcus grunted. That boy needs discipline, not coddling. He took a long drink. Did I leave my study door open? My blood went cold. I don't know. I haven't been upstairs. He stared at me for a long moment, then walked toward the hallway. I held my breath. Seconds later, I heard the study door close, the electronic lock engaged. He came back to the kitchen. Must have been distracted this morning. Don't go in there, Emma. You know the rules. Yes, Marcus. He took his beer and left. I exhaled, hands shaking. That was too close.
By day 4, I'd settled into Emma's routine. Wake at 6, make breakfast, clean, cook, serve, clean again. Repeat. My body moved through the motions while my mind cataloged everything. I'd recorded hours of Patricia's psychological abuse, Marcus's threats and intimidation, Tyler's casual cruelty that he'd learned from watching his uncle. But I didn't have what I needed. I didn't have Marcus physically attacking me on camera. He'd grabbed my wrist, sure. He'd threatened, but he hadn't hit me. Not yet. Emma texted every night, "Are you safe? Has he hurt you?" Not yet. I'm pushing more, slowly. Be careful. When he snaps, it's fast. I knew she was right. I could feel the pressure building. Marcus was drinking more, coming home angrier. Patricia was criticizing me more frequently. Tyler was watching me with suspicious eyes. They all sensed something was different. I was Emma, but I wasn't. I apologized less.
I held eye contact a fraction longer. I moved with more confidence. Small rebellions that were driving Marcus crazy. On day 4, I pushed harder. It started at dinner. Marcus was on his 4th scotch, complaining about work, about the economy, about everything. Patricia nodded along, encouraging his victimhood. And then Henderson had the nerve to question my numbers, like he knows better than me. Outrageous, Patricia agreed. The man's a fool. Maybe Henderson had a point, I said quietly. The room went silent. Marcus's head turned slowly toward me. What did you say? I could feel Patricia's shocked stare. Tyler had stopped eating, watching with wide eyes. This was it, the moment I'd been building to. I said maybe Henderson had a point. If multiple people are questioning the numbers, maybe there's an error worth checking. Marcus's face went from flush to purple. You're questioning me? You don't know anything about business. I know that successful people listen to feedback. Feedback? Is that what you think you're giving me? Feedback? Marcus, dear, Emma doesn't understand these things. She's just a woman. A stupid woman, Marcus agreed. He stood up, swaying slightly. Get up, Emma. Marcus, I said get up. I stood slowly. My phone was in my pocket, recording. But the angle was wrong. I needed him to do something that the camera could capture audio of clearly. Marcus walked around the table toward me. Tyler slid out of his chair, backing toward the doorway. He'd seen this before. You've been different lately. Mouthy, defiant. I've been patient. I've tried to be understanding, but you keep pushing. I'm not trying to push. Don't lie. He was right in front of me now. You think I don't notice, the way you look at me, the way you talk back. You're testing me, Emma, seeing how far you can go. Patricia, perhaps you should calm. Stay out of this, mother. His eyes never left mine. My wife needs to be reminded of her place. And what's my place? I asked quietly. Wrong thing to say. I knew it the moment the words left my mouth. Marcus's hand shot out and grabbed my throat. Not squeezing yet, just holding. A threat. Your place is beneath me, always. You exist because I allow it. You breathe because I permit it. His fingers tightened slightly. Do you understand? I couldn't speak with his hand on my throat, so I did what Emma would do. I nodded. Say it, he demanded, loosening his grip just enough. Say you understand. I understand. Say you're sorry for disrespecting me. I'm sorry for disrespecting you. Say you're worthless without me. I hesitated. This was the line, the moment where Emma completely submitted or I revealed I wasn't her. Say it, he hissed, hand tightening again. I'm worthless without you, I forced out. He released me with a shove. I stumbled backward, catching myself on the chair. Good. Now clean this up. He gestured to the table. I've lost my appetite. He walked out. Patricia followed, giving me a disgusted look as she passed. Tyler remained in the doorway. Are you okay? He asked quietly. I'm fine. Go to your room. But go, Tyler. He left reluctantly. I stood alone in the dining room, hand to my throat. It would bruise. Good. I pulled out my phone. The audio had recorded everything. His threats, his demands, his hand on my throat. It still wasn't enough. I needed video. I needed undeniable proof. Later that night, after everyone had gone to bed, I explored the house more carefully. I needed to find where I could position my phone to capture video without Marcus noticing. The master bedroom had no good hiding spots. The kitchen was too public. The dining room had the chandelier, but I'd need a ladder to reach it.
Then I remembered the living room. There was a bookshelf that faced the seating area. If I could hide my phone there, angle it right. I spent an hour testing positions. I found the perfect spot, behind a decorative vase, phone propped to look through a gap in the books. The camera had a clear view of the main seating area. I set it to continuous record mode, backup battery attached. Tomorrow, I'm going to make him snap where the camera can see everything. I texted Emma. Tomorrow, I'm going to make him snap. She said, Maya, please be careful. You don't know how violent he can get. Yes, I do. I've seen what he did to you. That's why I'm ending this. What if you can't control it? What if he really hurts you? Then I'll hurt him back, and it'll all be on camera. I went to bed beside my sister's snoring husband, planning tomorrow's confrontation like I used to plan fights. Find the weakness. Apply pressure. Wait for the opening. Strike. Marcus Wellington was about to learn that he'd been living with the wrong sister. And tomorrow, his world would come crashing down.
Day 5. The day I'd make Marcus reveal his true nature on camera. I woke early, checked the hidden phone in the living room. Still recording, battery at 78%, perfect. Marcus left for work at his usual time. Patricia had her tea. Tyler went to school. The house was mine to prepare. I spent the morning setting the stage. I rearranged the living room furniture slightly, moving the chair Marcus usually sat in directly into the camera's view. Subtle enough that he wouldn't notice, strategic enough to capture everything. I hid my second phone in my pocket, set to record audio as backup. Then I did something Emma would never do. I went into Marcus's study. The door was locked, but I'd watched him unlock it enough times to see the pattern. These electronic locks had a factory reset code. I'd looked up the model online. 6-digit code, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It worked. The door clicked open. I was in. My heart hammered as I moved to the safe behind the painting. I didn't have the combination, but I didn't need to open it. I just needed Marcus to know I'd tried. I pulled the painting aside, leaving it obviously askew. I moved papers on his desk, opened unlocked drawers, made it clear someone had been snooping. Then I left the study door wide open and went back to the kitchen. This was the trap. Marcus would come home, see his study had been invaded, and lose control. In the living room, where I'd direct him, on camera. At 5:47 p.m., the garage door opened. Marcus was home. I heard him enter, heard his briefcase hit the hall table, then silence. He'd seen the study. "Emma!" His roar echoed through the house. "Emma, get in here right now!" I walked calmly to the hallway. Marcus stood outside his study, face purple with rage, veins bulging in his neck. "Did you go into my study?" he demanded. "Yes," I said simply. He stared at me like I'd grown a second head. Emma would never admit it. She'd lie, apologize, grovel. "Yes?" he repeated. "You're admitting it?" "You keep secrets in there." I wanted to know what they were. "You wanted?" He couldn't even form words. "That room is off limits. I've told you 1,000 times." "Why? What are you hiding, Marcus?" His hand shot out and grabbed my arm, fingers digging in hard enough to bruise. "You don't get to question me. You don't get to invade my privacy. You're my wife, not my equal." "Then what am I?" I jerked my arm, but he held tight. "Your servant? Your property? You're whatever I say you are." He started dragging me toward the living room, perfect, right where I needed him. He shoved me toward the chair, the one positioned in the camera's view. I stumbled, but didn't fall. "Sit down," he ordered. No. That one word,
That simple refusal. I could see his brain short circuit. What did you say? I said no. I'm not a dog, Marcus. You don't get to order me around. He moved faster than I expected, grabbed my shoulders, and slammed me into the chair. I landed hard, the phone in my pocket digging into my hip. You've lost your mind, Marcus. I don't know what's gotten into you this week, but it ends right now. Or what? I looked directly at him. No fear, no submission, just challenge. What are you going to do, Marcus? Hit me? Like you've been doing for 3 years? I've never hit you, he said automatically. A lie he probably told himself so many times he believed it. Really? What do you call this? I pulled up my sleeve, showing the bruises from dinner 2 nights ago. Or this. I touched my throat where faint marks from yesterday still show. You're an abuser, Marcus, and I'm done pretending you're not. Something in him snapped. I could see it happen, the last thread of control breaking. His hand pulled back and swung toward my face. Finally. I could have blocked it, could have caught his wrist, twisted and broken his arm in 3 places. But I needed this on camera. So I let him hit me. His palm connected with my cheek. The impact snapped my head to the side. Pain exploded through my face. But I had taken harder hits in the ring, much harder. I turned back to look at him, tasting blood in my mouth. There it is, I said quietly. The real Marcus Wellington. Feel better now? He stared at his hand like he didn't recognize it. Then at me. You made me do that. You pushed and pushed until you showed what you really are, I said, standing up slowly. A man who hits women. A coward who only feels powerful when someone's afraid of him. Shut up. His voice was shaking. Just shut up. Why? Does the truth hurt? You're not a man, Marcus. You're a monster in an expensive suit, and everyone's going to know it. Know what? Who's going to tell them? You? He laughed, but it sounded panicked. No one will believe you. I'm Marcus Wellington III. You're just my crazy wife. I'm not your wife. The words hung in the air. Marcus froze. What? I said I'm not your wife. I smiled. I'm your sister. I watched him process this. Confusion, then disbelief, then dawning horror. That's impossible. You look exactly like Emma? That's because we're identical twins. We switched places, and I've been documenting everything. Every threat, every insult, every moment of abuse, including you hitting me just now. His face went white. You're lying. Am I? Think about it, Marcus. Has Emma seemed different this week? More confident? Less afraid? That's because you haven't been living with Emma. You've been living with Maya, the MMA fighter, the one who knows exactly how to take a punch and how to fight back. I moved closer to him. He actually stepped back. Here's what's going to happen, I continued. You're going to sit down, right here, and you're not going to move. Because if you try to touch me again, I won't just take it. I'll break every bone in your hand. You can't. Yes, I can. I've done it before. Want to test me? Marcus looked at my eyes and saw the truth. Saw the fighter he'd been underestimating for 5 days. He sat down heavily. Good boy, I said. Now we're going to talk about what happens next.
Marcus sat in the chair, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. The bravado, the dominance, the cruelty, all of it stripped away, leaving just a frightened man who'd finally been caught. This isn't real, he muttered. This is some kind of trick. No trick, just twins and a plan. I pulled up Emma's contact on my phone. Want to see?
I called her on video. She answered immediately. She'd been waiting. Maya, is it done? Marcus's eyes widened, hearing Emma's voice while looking at me, someone who looked exactly like Emma but wasn't. I turned the phone so he could see the screen. Emma stared back at him, her short hair matching mine from 5 days ago. Hello, Marcus, Emma said softly. Emma? But you're... and she's... He looked between us, his world breaking apart. I'm staying at Maya's apartment, Emma explained. I've been there since last Tuesday, safe, while my sister went to live my hell for me. Why? Why would you do this? Marcus's voice cracked. Because you beat me, Emma said, her voice stronger now. For 3 years, you beat me, terrorized me, made me feel worthless. I couldn't fight back, so my sister did it for me. I didn't... Marcus couldn't finish his sentence. Yes, you did, I said, ending the video call. And I have proof. Hours of recordings. You hitting me 30 seconds ago. You choking me at dinner. You grabbing me, threatening me, dehumanizing me. All documented. You can't use that. It's entrapment or fraud or... It's neither. I'm not law enforcement, so entrapment doesn't apply. And as for fraud, I shrugged. I've committed no crime. I lived in my sister's house with her permission. You abused someone you thought was your wife. That's on you. His hands were shaking. My lawyers will destroy this. My family. Your family can't protect you from federal charges. Federal? I haven't... Your safe, Marcus? The one in your study? What's in there? His face went even paler. How do you know about... Emma told me. She's seen you access it. She's heard your phone calls. She knows you're not just abusing your wife. You're running illegal real estate deals, fraud, money laundering, tax evasion. I've been bluffing about the specifics, but his reaction told me I was close to the mark. You can't prove any of that. Maybe not yet. But I bet the FBI could, with a warrant, with access to your safe. I smiled. And I bet they'll be very interested in your files once they hear you're a domestic abuser. Gives them probable cause to look deeper. Marcus stood up suddenly. I tensed, ready for an attack. But he just stumbled to the bar cart, poured himself a scotch with shaking hands, and drank it in one gulp. What do you want, finally? Money? I'll pay you to disappear, both of you. Name your price. I don't want your money. Then what? Justice, accountability, and my sister's freedom. Fine, divorce. Emma can have a divorce. I'll even be generous with the settlement. Just delete those recordings. No. No? He spun around. What more do you want? The house? Take it. The cars? Fine. Just delete the evidence and we'll all walk away. You don't understand, I said. This isn't a negotiation. You're not buying your way out of this. Then what? The front door burst open, heavy footsteps in the hallway. Police. We received a 911 call about a domestic disturbance. Marcus's eyes widened. You called the cops? I did. Right after you hit me. The phone in my pocket was connected to 911. They heard everything. Detective Sarah Chin walked into the living room with 2 uniformed officers. She looked at me, at my reddening cheek where Marcus had hit me, and then at Marcus. Mr. Wellington, I'm Detective Chin. We need to ask you some questions. This is a misunderstanding. My wife and I had an argument. Nothing serious. I'm not his wife. I'm Maya Carter, his wife's twin sister. And he just assaulted me, which was captured on both audio and video recording. I pulled out my phone, showed Detective Chin the recording app. I have 5 days of documented abuse, threats, physical assault, psychological torture, all of it directed at who he believed was his wife, Emma Wellington. She took the phone, reviewed the footage. Her expression hardened. Mr. Wellington, I'm placing you under arrest for assault and battery. She nodded to the officers who moved forward with handcuffs. Wait, you can't. My lawyers. You have the right to remain silent, the first officer began. I'm Marcus Wellington. Do you know who I am? Who my family is? Yeah, we know. We've known for years. We've had 3 complaints against you that mysteriously disappeared, but this time, there's too much evidence. Video, audio, witnesses. Even your family can't make this go away. They cuffed him. Marcus looked at me with pure hatred. You'll regret this, both of you. My family will destroy you. We'll sue for everything. Sue away. I have nothing. And Emma? She's going to have great lawyers, pro bono domestic violence advocates who love nothing more than to take down a rich abuser. They led Marcus toward the door. As he passed me, he hissed, Emma will never survive without me. She needs me. No, she never needed you. She needed to escape you. And now she has. After they left, Detective Chen turned to me. We'll need your full statement and Emma's, and we'll need all those recordings. You have everything. I want him prosecuted to the fullest extent. What about his mother, the nephew? They witnessed abuse and did nothing. In some states, that's a crime too. Patricia enabled it, encouraged it. Tyler's a victim himself. He's being groomed to become the next Marcus. Maybe with his uncle in prison, the kid has a chance to grow up different. Detective Chen nodded. We'll investigate the whole family. This kind of abuse doesn't happen in a vacuum. She gave me her card. Call me tomorrow. We'll get your official statement. And tell Emma... She paused. Tell her I'm sorry it took this long. We should have protected her better. After the detective left, I stood alone in the living room of Emma's mansion. My face throbbed where Marcus had hit me. My wrist ached when he grabbed me days ago. But I'd done it. I'd gathered the evidence. I'd made him snap. I'd gotten him arrested. I pulled out my personal phone and called Emma. It's over, I said, when she answered. He's arrested. You're free. Emma's sob of relief echoed through the phone. Is it really over? Not quite. We still have the trial, but the hard part, the dangerous part, that's done. Thank you, Maya. Thank you for being brave enough to do what I couldn't. You were brave too. You survived. That took courage I'll never fully understand.
The house was eerily quiet after Marcus was arrested. I stood in the living room, adrenaline still pumping through my veins, when I heard footsteps on the stairs. Patricia. She appeared in the doorway, still perfectly coiffed despite the chaos. What is the meaning of all this commotion? Where is Marcus? Your son was just arrested, I said flatly, for assault and battery. Patricia's face barely flickered. No shock, no horror, just irritation. Don't be ridiculous. Marcus would never. He did. I have video evidence. He hit me right here in this room. Well, you must have provoked him. What did you do, Emma? What did you say to upset him? There it was. The instant victim blaming, the automatic defense of her monster son. I'm not Emma. Patricia squinted at me. What are you talking about? Of course you're... I'm Maya, Emma's twin sister. We switched places 5 days ago. For the first time, I saw genuine emotion on Patricia's face. Shock. That's impossible. Look at me. Really look. Emma moves like she's trying to disappear. I don't. Emma flinches when you raise your voice. I don't. Emma accepts your abuse. I never will. Patricia sank into a chair, her perfect composure cracking. This is insane. You're lying. I'm not. And I have days of recordings documenting what goes on in this house. Your son beating his wife, you encouraging it,
Tyler learning from example that abusing women is acceptable. I never encouraged. Yes, you did. I pulled out my phone, played back audio from dinner 3 nights ago. Patricia's voice came through clearly. Marcus, dear, she needs to learn her place. Don't be too soft. Patricia's face flushed. That was taken out of context. I was trying to help Emma become a better wife. By telling your son to abuse her? I never said abuse. I said discipline. There's a difference. No, Patricia, there isn't. What you call discipline is what the law calls domestic violence, and you're complicit. This is absurd. I'm calling my lawyer. Go ahead. Call him. But know this. Detective Chen is investigating the entire family. In many states, witnessing abuse and doing nothing is a crime. Encouraging it, that's even worse. Patricia's hand froze on her phone. You can't prove I did anything illegal. Maybe not. But I can prove you're a terrible person, and that'll be enough for the court of public opinion. Imagine the headlines. Wealthy socialite enabled son's abuse for years. Your country club friends will love that. Patricia's carefully maintained mask shattered. You vindictive little bitch, you've destroyed this family. No, your son destroyed this family when he decided his wife was a punching bag. You destroyed it when you cheered him on. I just documented it. Emma will never testify against Marcus. She's too weak, too broken. You're wrong. Emma is stronger than you ever gave her credit for. She survived 3 years of hell and still had the courage to ask for help. That's not weakness. That's heroic. Patricia's eyes narrowed. Marcus will get out. His lawyers are the best. He'll come home. And when he does, Emma won't be here. She'll be filing for divorce and suing him for everything he's worth. Assault, battery, emotional distress. She'll take this house, the money, all of it. On what grounds? She has no proof. She has 5 days of my recordings, plus medical records from the ER visits she lied about, plus testimony from witnesses, the delivery driver who saw her bruises, the housekeeper you fired because she asked too many questions. They'll all testify. Patricia stood frozen, her perfect world crumbling around her. Tyler appeared in the doorway, still in his school uniform. Grandma? What's happening? Why were there police cars? Go to your room, Tyler. No, I said. Tyler, come here. Sit down. Tyler looked between us, confused, but sat on the couch. Your uncle, Marcus, was arrested tonight for hitting me. But your Aunt Emma, you probably... I'm not Aunt Emma. I'm her twin sister, Maya. And no, I didn't probably deserve it. No one deserves to be hit. Tyler's eyes widened. You're not Aunt Emma? No. We switched places so I could document your uncle's abuse. And now he's facing charges. But Uncle Marcus said, your uncle told you a lot of things. That women need to be controlled, that fear is power, that abuse is discipline. I leaned forward. Tyler, your uncle was wrong about all of it. And if you follow his example, you'll end up just like him. Arrested, alone, hated. Tyler, don't listen to her. She's trying to poison your mind against your family. No, I'm trying to save him from becoming you. Tyler, you're 14. You're old enough to choose what kind of man you want to be. You can be like Marcus, cruel, abusive, ending up in handcuffs, or you can be different, better. Tyler looked at his hands. I saw him hit Aunt Emma once, last year. She was crying, and he just hit her. I told my grandma, and she said it was normal, that men had to keep women in line. And you believed that? I asked gently. I don't know. It felt wrong, but he looked at Patricia. Everyone said it was normal. It's not normal. It's criminal, and you can choose not to continue that cycle. Tyler was quiet for a long moment. Then, I don't want to be like Uncle Marcus. Patricia stood abruptly. I won't listen to this nonsense. Tyler, come with me. No, Grandma. Tyler? I said no. Tyler looked at her with something like clarity. You told me to help Uncle Marcus hurt Aunt Emma. You laughed when he hit her. That's not normal. That's not okay. Patricia's face contorted with rage. You ungrateful little... Careful, I warned. He's 14. He can testify about what he's seen, what you told him. Do you really want to make him an enemy? Patricia glared at me, then at Tyler. This family is finished, and it's all your fault. No, it's yours. You raised a monster. You enabled abuse. You tried to create another generation of abusers. This is the consequence of your choices. Patricia grabbed her purse and walked towards the door. I'm calling my lawyer. We'll fight this. You'll lose, I said simply. The evidence is overwhelming. Save yourself the embarrassment. She slammed the door behind her. Tyler and I sat in silence for a moment. What happens now? He asked quietly. Now? The police investigate. Marcus goes to trial. Emma divorces him and starts rebuilding her life. And you, I looked at him, you decide who you want to be. Can I talk to Aunt Emma, the real one? I think she'd like that. Tyler nodded slowly. I'm sorry for the things I did, the way I treated her. Tell her that, not me. He stood up, hesitated, then said, Thank you for helping her and for telling me the truth. After he left, I sat alone in the mansion that had been Emma's prison. It was over. Marcus arrested, Patricia exposed, Tyler maybe, possibly, on a better path. Now came the hard part, helping Emma reclaim her life.
3 days later, Emma and I stood outside the Wellington mansion together. For real this time. No tricks, no switches. Just twin sisters facing down the place that had haunted one of us for years. I don't know if I can go back in there, Emma said softly. You don't have to. We can hire movers, pack up your things, and you never have to see this place again. No. Emma took a deep breath. I need to do this. I need to walk back in there, not as a victim, but as someone taking back what's mine. I squeezed her hand. I'll be right beside you. We walked through the front door together. The house was empty. Patricia had gone to stay with relatives. Tyler was at a friend's house per court order while social services evaluated the situation. Emma moved through the room slowly, touching surfaces, looking at things with new eyes. It's so different when you're not afraid. It's just a house. Expensive, sure, but just a house. We spent hours packing her belongings. Clothes, books, photos from before Marcus, personal items that were hers alone. What about all this? Emma gestured. To the expensive furniture, the art, the luxury items. Legally, it's all mine now, right? Part of the divorce settlement? Most of it, yes. Marcus's lawyers are fighting, but with the criminal charges and evidence, you'll get the majority. I don't want it. Emma looked around the mansion. I don't want any of this. It's all tainted. So sell it. Take the money and start fresh somewhere else. Emma smiled, a real smile, the first genuine one I'd seen in weeks. Yeah, fresh start. Somewhere Marcus and Patricia and their whole toxic world can't reach me. As we packed, Emma's phone rang. The lawyer she'd hired, a fierce advocate from a domestic violence legal clinic who'd taken her case pro bono. Mrs. Wellington,
I have news. Marcus's bail was denied. The judge considered him a flight risk and a danger. He will remain in custody until trial. Emma's knees buckled. I caught her, helped her sit down. He can't come after me? She asked into the phone. No, and there's more. The FBI has indeed opened an investigation into his business dealings. Turns out your suspicions were correct. They found evidence of fraud, money laundering, tax evasion. The financial charges will likely exceed the domestic violence charges in severity. So he's really going to prison? Yes, for a long time. His lawyers are already talking plea bargains. After the call ended, Emma sat in silence for a long moment. Then she started crying. Not sad tears, relief. It's really over, she sobbed. He can't hurt me anymore. I held her while she cried, letting 3 years of fear and pain and trauma pour out. When she finally stopped, she looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. I couldn't have done this without you. You literally saved my life. You saved your own life. You asked for help. That was the bravest thing. I was so scared you'd say no or think I was exaggerating or tell me to just try harder to make the marriage work. Never. You're my sister, my twin. Your pain is my pain, and no one gets to hurt you and walk away from it. We finished packing as the sun set. Emma took one last look around the mansion. I used to dream about this place. Before I married Marcus, I thought it was like a fairy tale, a princess in a castle. It was more like a princess in a tower. But now you're free. Now I'm free, Emma repeated, like she was testing the words. What do I do with that? With freedom? I've forgotten how to just be myself. You figure it out, one day at a time. Maybe you go back to cooking. You loved that once. Maybe you travel. Maybe you do absolutely nothing for a while and just heal. Will you stay while I figure things out? As long as you need me. We drove back to my apartment, now our apartment temporarily. Emma had been staying there all week while I was undercover. Now we were both there, together, safe. That night we ordered pizza and watched stupid comedies and laughed until our sides hurt. Normal sister things we hadn't done since before Marcus. I got a call from Tyler, Emma said during a lull. He wants to see me, to apologize. What did you say? I said I'd think about it. Part of me never wants to see anyone from that family again, but part of me, she trailed off. He's just a kid who was being taught terrible things. Maybe he deserves a chance. That's your call. Whatever you decide, I'll support it. I think I'll meet with him, with you there, in a public place. Let him say what he needs to say, then decide if he gets to be part of my life going forward. That's fair. Emma was quiet for a moment. What you did for me, going undercover, gathering evidence, putting yourself in danger, I keep thinking about it. You're an MMA fighter, but you're a hero. I'm not a hero. I'm just a sister who loves her twin. But still, what you did, maybe other people need that too. Women trapped like I was. What if we help them? I looked at her. What are you suggesting? A business, a real one. We use your self-defense training and my, unfortunately, extensive knowledge of how abusers work. We teach women to protect themselves. We help them escape. We document abuse when they can't. That's dangerous work. So is being an abuse victim. Emma's eyes were bright with purpose. I spent 3 years feeling helpless. Now I want to help others feel powerful. And you have the skills. You know how to fight, how to gather evidence, how to outsmart abusers. We'd need funding, training, legal support. I'll have money from the divorce settlement. We can use that. Start small, grow slowly. But Maya, I need this. I need something good to come from all that pain. I thought about using my fighting skills for something more than just teaching basic self-defense to suburban moms, about helping women, like Emma, escape their monsters. Okay, I said, let's do it. Twin Sisters Defense or something? Carter Sisters Security, Emma countered, using our maiden name, starting fresh. Carter Sisters Security, I repeated. I like it. We clinked our soda cans together like champagne glasses. Two sisters, identical in appearance, different in every other way, but together, we were unstoppable.
6 months later, I sat in a courtroom watching Marcus Wellington learn his fate. The trial had been swift. With the overwhelming video and audio evidence, Marcus's lawyers had tried to negotiate a plea deal. But the prosecutor, emboldened by the media attention the case had received, pushed for maximum charges. Marcus looked diminished in his orange jumpsuit. The expensive suit was gone. The swagger was gone. He looked like what he was, a pathetic man who'd only felt powerful by hurting someone weaker. The judge read the verdict. On all counts of assault and battery, domestic violence and coercion, guilty. On federal charges of wire fraud, money laundering, and tax evasion, guilty. Emma, sitting beside me, squeezed my hand so hard it hurt, but she didn't look away. She watched Marcus receive his sentence with clear, steady eyes. Mr. Wellington, you have been found guilty of crimes against your wife and against the state. You used your wealth and position to abuse someone who trusted you and to defraud countless others. The court sentences you to 12 years in federal prison for the financial crimes and an additional 8 years for the domestic violence charges to be served consecutively. 20 years total. 20 years. Marcus would be 62 when he got out. His real estate empire was gone, seized by the FBI. His reputation was destroyed. His family had disowned him to save themselves. He lost everything. "Do you have anything to say, Mr. Wellington?" the judge asked. Marcus stood shakily. I made mistakes. I let stress and pressure affect my judgment. I asked the court for leniency and a chance to—" "No," Emma said. Every head in the courtroom turned. Emma stood up. "Your Honor, may I speak?" The judge nodded. "You may address the court, Mrs. Wellington." Emma walked to the front. She'd lost the Wellington name legally, gone back to Carter, but the judge used the married name out of formality. She stood in front of Marcus, separated by the defendant's table, but finally, truly safe from him. "You didn't make mistakes," Emma said, her voice steady. "You made choices. You chose to hit me. You chose to choke me. You chose to terrorize me for 3 years, and you'd choose it again if you could. Emma, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I don't accept your apology. I don't forgive you, and I don't want you to have leniency. I want you to serve every single day of your sentence. I want you to feel what it's like to be powerless, to be controlled, to be afraid." Marcus's face crumpled. "Please, I loved you." "No, you didn't. You loved having someone you could control. That's not love, that's ownership. And I'm no one's property." Emma turned to the judge. "Your Honor, I also want to ensure that Marcus Wellington never contacts me again. Ever.
No letters, no phone calls, no messages through third parties. When he gets out in 20 years, I want a permanent restraining order." "Granted," the judge said immediately. "Mr. Wellington, you are hereby prohibited from any contact with Miss Carter for the duration of your life." Emma nodded and returned to her seat. She was shaking, but her head was high. The bailiffs led Marcus away. He looked back once, and I met his eyes. I wanted him to know, to really understand, that he hadn't just been caught by the system. He'd been taken down by two sisters who refused to let him win. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed us. Emma had agreed to a single statement. "My name is Emma Carter. For 3 years, I was a victim of domestic violence. I was terrified, isolated, and believed I had no way out. But my sister Maya saved my life by taking my place and gathering evidence that led to my abuser's conviction." The reporter shouted questions. Emma held up her hand. "If you're experiencing abuse, please know it's not your fault. You're not crazy, you're not overreacting, and there is help available. My sister and I have started an organization called Carter Sisters Security to help women escape domestic violence and learn to protect themselves. Visit our website, call our hotline. You don't have to suffer alone." More questions, but we pushed through to the waiting car. Inside, Emma finally let herself breathe. "I did it," she whispered. "I actually testified against him and watched him go to prison." "You did, and you were amazing." "So were you, taking those hits, gathering that evidence, risking yourself for me." "Worth every bruise." We drove to the community center where we'd opened Carter Sisters Security 6 weeks ago. It was small, 2 rooms above a karate studio, but it was ours. Inside, 3 women were waiting for a self-defense class I was teaching. Emma ran the legal advocacy side, connecting victims with lawyers and resources. I handled the physical training and occasionally the undercover evidence gathering when women couldn't safely document their abuse themselves. We'd helped 11 women escape abusive situations so far. Small numbers, but 11 lives saved. 11 women who got their freedom back. "Ready for class?" I asked the women. They nodded eagerly. I recognized that look, the desperate need to feel strong again, to reclaim power that had been stolen from them. "Okay, first rule, you are not a victim, you are a survivor, and survivors fight back." I spent the next 2 hours teaching them strikes, escapes, pressure points. But more than techniques, I taught them mindset, how to move through the world without fear, how to recognize danger before it escalated, how to be powerful in their own bodies. After class, one woman stayed behind, young, maybe 25, with poorly concealed bruises on her arms. "Can I ask you something?" she said quietly. "Of course." "That thing you and your sister did, switching places, could you do that for me?" I glanced at Emma, who joined us. "Tell us about your situation," Emma said gently. The woman, her name was Lisa, told us about her boyfriend, the escalating violence, the threats, the isolation, the fear that if she left, he'd find her and kill her. "I need evidence," Lisa said, "but every time I try to record him, he finds my phone and breaks it. He's smart. He never hits me where people can see, and no one believes me because he's so charming in public." Emma and I exchanged looks. We talked about this, about whether to offer the twin switch service to others. It was dangerous. It was complicated. It could go very wrong, but it could also save lives. "We'll help you," I said.
Not by switching. We're twins. That only works for us. But we have other ways. Hidden cameras, remote recording devices, and I can teach you to fight back when you need to. What if he kills me before we get enough evidence? Then you leave, Emma said firmly. Right now, tonight. We have a safe house, we have lawyers, we have resources. Evidence is important, but your life is more important. Lisa started crying. I just want him to pay for what he's done, like Emma made her husband pay. He will, I promise. One way or another, abusers always pay. Sometimes it's prison, sometimes it's losing everything they value, sometimes it's just living with the knowledge that they're despised, but they pay. We spent the next hour making a safety plan for Lisa. By the end, she was calmer, more focused. She had a path forward. After she left, Emma and I locked up the office. We're going to do this, aren't we? Really commit to helping women escape abuse. Yeah, we are. It's going to be hard, dangerous. We'll make enemies. Probably. But we'll also save lives, and that's worth any risk. Emma hugged me tight. Thank you, Maya, for everything, for saving me, for believing me, for fighting when I couldn't. Always, I said. That's what sisters do.
We walked out into the evening air. Somewhere in the city, Marcus Wellington was spending his first night in a federal prison. Patricia was hiding from the media, her reputation destroyed. Tyler was in therapy, trying to unlearn years of toxic programming. And Emma and I, we were free. We were strong. We were together. Two identical twins who'd switched places to catch a monster. And now we were using that experience to help others do the same. This wasn't the end of our story. Thank you for being with me. If you like this story, do hit the like button and subscribe the channel.